Hi guys, we're going to be talking about pre-writing strategies in this lecture. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, pre-writing strategies are essentially different activities for you to do before you actually start writing your essay, hence pre-writing strategies. These are activities that are intended to get the ball rolling, to help you really get started in the writing process. It's a good way for you to explore your interests in different topics, for you to kind of just jot down some ideas, get the blood really flowing to your brain. That way, once you actually start the writing process, writing your essay, it'll be so much easier for you. So this might sound confusing, but what you think you want to write an essay on is often different than what you actually end up writing. And 9 times out of 10, the pre-writing process is where you actually find this out. It's very easy to go into an essay feeling really strongly about your idea, but once you actually start trying to write the essay, you'll realize either maybe you don't actually know as much as you thought you did on this topic, or maybe you just kind of generally don't find it as interesting as you thought you did. And that's okay. That will happen. It happens pretty frequently, actually, and that's okay. But it's better to find out during the pre-writing process rather than actually start writing your essay. You put in a lot of hard laboring hours actually writing it, and then let's say you get to body paragraph number 2 and you're completely stuck, you don't know what else to say, and now you kind of have to start over and disregard all of that hard work you put in. Don't waste your time. Do these pre-writing strategies. That way you can figure all of this out before you actually start writing your paper. Pre-writing strategies are always productive. They are also extremely neglected. Students kind of think, I don't really need to do that, and they really do just jump right into writing their paper. I promise you, pre-writing strategies actively pay off, right? It eliminates hours of hard labor during the writing process. It helps you feel more organized, more prepared, and it also really helps with writer's block. It's really common to sit down to start an assignment and not have anything to say, right? Or you feel like you don't have anything to say. Your brain is just, you're kind of stuck. That happens so frequently to some more than others. I struggle with writer's block really, really, really bad. So I have to start basically all of my assignments with a pre-writing strategy. These are the different pre-writing strategies that we're going to talk about. We have brainstorming, free writing, mapping and diagramming, and outlining. Starting off with brainstorming, this is where you create a long list of ideas in a short period of time. This is a timed activity where you ask yourself what you know about your topic and list everything that comes to mind. I mean literally a list. You're just bullet points. What do I know about pizza, pepperoni, cheese? And just write as many things as you possibly can about the topic, right? It's really important for you to create a non-judgmental space for yourself. In order for you to really let your creative juices flow and to get that blood to the brain, you can't judge yourself. And what I mean by judge yourself is a lot of the time when people are trying to do these pre-writing activities, they're so concerned about spelling or sounding smart or, making sure their grammar is correct. This is the one place where you can throw that out the window, okay? Grammar doesn't matter, spelling doesn't matter, sounding smart, whatever that means, it doesn't matter. It's just you putting stuff down on a page, right? The idea is to get the blood flowing to your brain, get some ideas down, and see what you're working with for your paper. Okay, so let's say you do your brainstorming list, right? You set a timer for 3 minutes, you have your topic, and you spend that 3 minutes jotting down literally everything that comes to mind about that topic. The timer goes off, your 3 minutes is up. What do you do now? So obviously you need to read it, right? You need to go back and look at what you wrote, find ideas that connect, right? Things that relate to each other. Find what inspires you. Are you particularly interested about two of the points that you wrote about and kind of want to disregard everything else, find what inspires you, what like actually excites you to write about, and really importantly, decide what's not useful. In a timed activity, sometimes what you write down is kind of nonsense, and that's okay. Just once you finish actually making your brainstorming list, just disregard what's not useful to you. Easy as that, okay? Ask yourself, what do I care about? What can I teach others? Like which of these bullet points that I wrote down am I passionate about? And what do I want to change about this issue, right? What do I want to say about all of this? Making a physical list often leads to free writing, which is our next pre-writing strategy activity. Some people like to brainstorm just in their head. I don't encourage you to do that. There is like actual scientific data that shows when we write something down, we are going to remember it or learn it better. So make the actual physical list, okay? Don't just think in your head, okay, what do I know about this? Do the actual activity. Set a timer, sit down, write a physical list, and then you can move on to free writing. Free writing is essentially writing whatever comes to mind. Again, this is a timed activity, but rather than bullet points, you're now like writing an actual paragraph, writing complete sentences. Again, the judgment-free zone is super important. Grammar doesn't count, spelling doesn't count. You don't need to sound academic or like scholarly or anything like that. This is just you moving forward in freeing up your thoughts. After you've disregarded everything from brainstorming that wasn't useful, how can I put into sentences the bullet points that I did find useful, okay? Again, a timed activity. I recommend giving yourself at least 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, not too short, not too long, okay? Again, writing down whatever comes to mind. And if you run out of things to say about your topic before time runs out, keep writing. That is the key. Just keep writing. What are you going to have for dinner tonight? Make a grocery list. What are you looking forward to over the weekend? It doesn't matter. The idea is to just keep writing, exercise the muscles of your brain. That way, like, you stay in this mindset of, like, it's time to work. It's time to do school. Let's sit down, get serious. This is a good way to start that process. I recommend doing this multiple times, like if you have the time, of course. Do this a few times and see like what repeats, what aspect or what concept regarding your topic do you keep coming back to. That'll be a good indicator for you as to what is actually important. If you keep coming back to the same idea, that should say something, right? And again, free writing multiple times, like doing this activity back to back, that's a really good way to kind of figure it out. Sometimes things are important to us at almost like a subconscious level where we don't really know how important it is to us or how much we know about a certain thing until we start writing about it like this. So I highly encourage you to try free writing. We will do free writing exercises together in class sometimes, but this is honestly, in my opinion, this is the most helpful pre-writing strategy. I use free writing pretty consistently, pretty regularly, and it is genuinely helpful for me. So even if you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to do that, that's not going to help me, I promise you that it actually will if you allow it to. Like, if you actually apply yourself to what it is you're doing rather than kind of like, I'm just going to write this down. Don't do that. Actually try, and I promise you it'll be helpful. In the long run, it'll be super productive. All right, moving on to mapping and diagramming. This is all for my visual learners, okay? This is like literally drawing to make connections, okay? Again, this is most helpful for visual learners. I am not a visual learner. I'm very much so like an audible learner, and I also have to like physically do something to learn it or figure it out. That's why free writing is so helpful to me. But there are a lot of visual learners out there who learn from something like this, right? So creating a Venn diagram, connecting little blurbs together to make connections, making a diagram, making like a map, very visual, okay? There are a lot of online resources to help with this if you are interested. These are just a few: MindMeister, Bubble, Xmind, Mindomo. These will help you make these diagrams or help you like make little blurbs and make maps between them, make the connections like if you want it. If you don't want to be that fancy, you could literally just take a piece of paper and do that on your own. Again, drawing to make connections. And that can mean anything to you. Some people actually draw pictures, like create art. Other people are just like writing blurbs with words in them and like making connections in between them, right? I don't know if you've ever seen like the stereotypical like board somebody has when they're trying to like track down a serial killer, but they've kind of gone crazy a little bit, and they have like the string that's like making connections all over the place. That's kind of an extreme version of mapping or diagramming. But honestly, like, it really does help people if you are a visual learner. Hopefully you do know what kind of learner you are. If you don't, there are many ways to find out. Please come to me if you need help with that. I can give you some resources. Honestly, you could literally just type in online, like, how do I learn what type of learner I am? And I'm sure there's a bunch of like quizzes or whatever, but it's important for you to know what kind of learner you are, right? Like, do you have to physically write something down? Can you just hear it be told to you and remember? Do you have to draw pictures to make connections? There are many different ways to learn, so it's really important for you to know how you learn best. All right, last but certainly not least, let's talk about outlining. So this is the very last pre-writing step. It is extremely, extremely important. If you don't do any of the previous activities that we talked about in this video, please still make an outline. It is so extremely helpful when you are ready to start planning the structure of your essay before actually starting like the drafting process, before you start writing your essay, okay? When you make an outline, this is you setting up the foundation of your essay, okay? Outlines have kind of a specific format. You have your main points as headings, and then kind of below as like subpoints, you have supporting ideas, okay? This does not have to be in complete sentences or anything like that. This is just, you can present these supporting ideas as, a few short numbered sentences or phrases, bullet points, whatever is most helpful for you. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at what an outline looks like. So this is an example of an outline. This is really a template that you can use to fill in. So you have your introduction as number 1. Topic number 1, which is body paragraph number 1. Topic 2, body paragraph number 2, etc., right? As we've talked about, your essay is probably going to have more than 3 body paragraphs, like this one does. So you would change this template accordingly, right? Whatever your essay looks like, right? So within each topic, within each body paragraph, you have evidence you're giving, okay? This doesn't have to look exactly like this. The idea of an outline is to just create some kind of structure for your essay. So whatever that looks like for you, great. Whatever works for you, awesome. It doesn't have to look exactly like this. You're not going to be turning an outline into me. This is just to help you in your writing process. But this is what I generally use as an outline, so feel free to use this if you find it helpful. This is posted on Canvas. This is in this week's module under lectures and documents, so you have this available to look at. Here's an example outline. This is just like a basic 5-paragraph essay that I have made a fake outline for, okay? So feel free to go ahead and pause the video and take a look at it if you want, or look at the document in our Canvas page. Wherever you look at this really doesn't matter. What's important is that you understand what an outline is, you understand how important it is, and how helpful it's going to be. When I say important, I really mean that, because it is so helpful. Like I said at the beginning of this video, students so often neglect pre-writing strategies because they think it's just going to be easier to start writing their paper, but I promise you that's not the case. As somebody who used to feel that way and would never free write or brainstorm or make an outline, once I got into grad school and started to do this, I realized I would have made life so much easier for myself if I had been doing this from the community college level. So please, 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 even if you think it's not going to be helpful for you, just try.